Okay, the thing to understand about Virgo, remember when we wrote the book on the exquisite zodiac, we had the book all done. And I started receiving so many insights about Virgo that I ripped up the chapter, which was a lot of work, and rewrote it. And why did I rewrite it? I rewrote it because I wanted to add to this sore spot that they just keep picking on Virgos about being perfectionists. Well, there's no doubt that they lean that way. But I really felt that there was much more to the story, and they're very underrated, and they are to blame themselves. Just like me, the Capricorn. We are the worst ones in the zodiac, Virgos and Capricorns, at accepting compliments. We're terrible at it. We don't want to accept it. We don't like the limelight. Mainly Virgos that way because they follow the limelight sign of Leo. That's why they're trying to get that out of their system. I wanted to, and I hope I did, focus on two extra things about Virgos. One, that they're caring. This is why you can get lost in how fussy they are. When you go through a hospital, what's making the hospital work is a bunch of Virgos. Because they're working their ass off. They care about details. They'll work extra. They don't want any kudos. This is a big deal. You see it when you interview 200 Virgo women, about 100 of them will be nurses or in the medical field. They're really good. They're known for how good they are, whatever they do. Even the Virgo male, Virgo men, many Virgo men are nurses. Males, very common to be carpentry, fixing things, especially carpentry. They're really good at building things. And again, you see, if Chiron, like I suggest, is the ruler of Virgo, you see the word Chiron, which comes from Chir, a Greek word for hands. That's where you get chiropractor. That's where you get Virgos working with their hands in skilled positions. So Virgo, the impetus of Virgo, the real thing that pushes up through the Virgo is that desire to fix things. It's the desire to find out what's wrong and get things done. They cannot understand why the rest of us are not that way. We're just not. Scorpios can't understand why the rest of us aren't fanatically dedicated to each other while they are. Well, our sun signs are really, really powerful. I'm not talking about the other things in your chart now. I'm talking about the essence of Virgo. So Virgo being the Virgin is a very important part of this discussion tonight. Whatever Virgo is given, they treasure it. They're very holy. They're very reverent, just like Capricorn. They treat what God gave them as a real gift. And this is one of the reasons almost every Virgo you see, no matter what age, they have a very pure complexion. Almost all of them. Especially the women, of course. This has got to do with purity. Virgos cannot stand a life that's not pure. This is why they're attracted so often to Scorpios, because Scorpios can't stand a life that's impure in terms of pure dedication to each other, while Virgos can't stand a life of half-ass work. They want it done right. Get the hell out if you don't do it right. They care. They'll do the extra work. They want it done. They care to do it. Just like us Capricorns, at the center of Virgo, you got to remember you cannot analyze a sign unless you clearly know what all the signs are like before you. Virgo is the sixth sign of the first six. And that's a great big deal because the first 6 signs are all about getting the individual together. Because the last 6 signs are all about going out into society. So Virgo is all about the first 5 signs. Will you stop whining? That's why you do not whine around a Virgo. They don't want to hear it. So the Virgos have this tremendous sense of no more whining. I can't stand it. Now, if you know them privately, you'll find out that they're whining all the time, and they're bitching all the time, and they're critical all the time, but they don't want anybody to know it. That's the big secret about Virgo. That's why when you work with one, they're usually such fabulous people to have on your staff. They're so dedicated to the company. They don't criticize anybody. They keep their mouth shut. They get the job done. They're really, really excellent at what they do. They concentrate so much on their job skill set. That's why transits through Virgo, transits through the 6th house, are all about learning new skill sets. So the Virgo has this charge right from the goddess. Not the god, from the goddess. The goddess is the Virgin. About making things pure, getting things done, staying afterwards. You know the kind of nurse I'm talking about, where they're kind of cool emotionally, but they're very attentive to you, and they're going to get you what you need. But it's very typical for people to have Virgo parents, where the Virgo parent is such a great provider, but they're not usually in the strong suit of emotional support. And that's a great big part of why. Virgos don't like to talk about emotion. It's not their nature because, okay, Nancy Hoffman's ever going, oh. If you want to talk, just turn your mic on. It's not that they don't respect people's emotions. It's like I said in the book, emotions are very sloppy things. They're unruly things. You have to wait till the whining's done. You got to wait till the crying's done. Because again, the myth of Virgo is if you worked harder and you worked better, things would be better. And it's not true. Because what I started to say earlier, what I teach, what I talk about, I can't even stop it. I see everything in the world of Pisces. I see everything in the world of going back to God, touching the God part of you, the God pure sense of oneness in you. And that's why, Karen, I said to you earlier today about Virgo being the exact opposite, because they're as far from Pisces as possible. Virgo is all about separation. Did you see what was wrong? Get that fixed. Pisces is all about oneness. Everything's okay as it is. Well, tell a Virgo everything's fine. The Virgo thinks you're crazy. It ain't fine. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Very tough stuff. And that's why I spend a lot of time in the book talking about the 6 polarities. And there is no polarity in the zodiac more important than Virgo and Pisces, because it represents all polarities in the universe, because Virgo is duality. What's different from this and that? Pisces or oneness doesn't care. Nothing's dual. Everything's one. Well, to Virgo, they think you're out of your mind. And the Pisces looks at the Virgo and they look at it without judgment. Pisces does not understand judgment. That's why the title of the Pisces chapter is, Isn't He Silly? Because judgment is not possible. All judgment, as we know, is incorrect and it's always wrong. And that's why Jesus said to us not to judge, but we took it like the rules. The rules say you can't judge. Well, that was not helped out by the Middle East and the Quran. The Quran's all about establish the rules. God damn, well, Pisces is, I'm not following anybody's rules. What rules? What rules you talk about? There aren't any rules, and there aren't. So the trick is, How does Virgo keep dealing with this nature to fix things, to shy away from emotion, to make things pure, to care, to get things done, but yet they've got to go on through 6 more lessons. I don't care what sign you are, you got to go on through to Pisces. And you got to learn all the 11 lessons leading up to Pisces, which is where you surrender back to God. So the real trick of this discussion tonight is how to be a Virgo, but yet to not be a Virgo at the same time. How to be pure, but be the big pure and the little pure. How to care and to see the differences and fix the differences, but not be identified with being the fixer. Look at many male Virgos. They're a good example. And the women were this way, and many of them still are. They just don't want to hear it. They want to get up and get the stuff done. There's stuff to do. Let's get done. Well, many of the males especially use it as a cop-out. The trick to Virgo is turning it into this. Watch me. Look at me on the screen. Everybody. Turning it into, I have things to do, rather than, I got stuff to do. That's the difference. Well, if that's bossing you all the time, I don't think that's very good. And that's where all the shoulds come in. The shoulds of the, I wrote long ago, you've seen the only one following Virgos with a clipboard is themselves. Nobody's following them, keeping track of their mistakes, except themselves. So, here's the problem. If Virgo is so pure, and they can't stand to see people around them who don't appreciate what they were given, they will help you off your back if you help yourself, but they're not real big on helping you if you don't try. This is why they're so beautiful. Tremendous people, wonderfully strong, powerful, beautiful souls. But by finding what's wrong with everything, how you were supposed to appreciate what God's giving you. Well, God, you gave me this, but this is broken. Well, you gave me this, but it wasn't good enough. You see the built-in problem. Well, God, I really appreciate this beautiful day, and I'm going to make the best of it, and it's so good, and I'm going to go to work and do such a great job, but this stuff sucks over here. This stuff needs fixed. This needs fixed. This needs fixed. It's neurotic. The reason it's neurotic is because the mindset is too small. You got to be the Pisces at the same time that you're being the Virgo. And we've all got Pisces in us. All of us. So when you watch Mother Teresa, the Virgo who passed away, the tremendous example of the Virgo who was working and working and fixing and helping, going into the gutters with the lepers. I mean, tremendous story. What did she say in her book? What do you do all day? She said, the only thing I do all day is see different faces of Christ. So she's helping with the leper. She's helping with the sick. She's helping with the poor, but she's beyond identifying with it. Because when you identify with being a doer, what are your results? You did good, you did bad. You identify with how well you did, how crappy you did. You can't win. And nobody around them can win. Because you cannot treat somebody different than you treat yourself. It's not possible. Think about it. You cannot treat anybody different than you treat yourself. So if they can't win, how the hell are you going to win? If they don't let themselves whine, you think they're going to let you whine? It's not in their nature. So it's very tough for them to learn to give themselves slack, at the same time have high expectation, and there's no signs in the zodiac that are tougher than Virgo and Scorpio. When you got people that have Virgo and Scorpio in their chart, whatever mixture, you got the two tough SOBs in the chart. Because Scorpio can't stand weakness, they can't stand lack of courage, and the Virgos can't stand lack of effort. but both are into purity. But the real danger is they're tough on their own self. So let's leave that on a side burner for now. And as I watched through the years, I started to see about 4 or 5 years ago, right when Neptune and Chiron went into Pisces. In case you don't know the zodiac, the Pisces energy is opposite Virgo, and it started sending its energy directly across the Pisces over to Virgo, and it had a 7th house connotation. How is that possible? Because anything you want to examine, you put it on the 1st house. So if you want to examine Virgo, and what happened to Virgo, you look at what's coming from Pisces, the 7th house. And that's why Virgos have become a lot softer in their expectations with their relationships. Now, softness is definitely a quality that leans towards the female as opposed to male, without a doubt. And I have seen so much progress where the Virgo women in the past 5, 6 years, especially 3 years, are giving themselves a break. They're going on vacation. They're not worried if they leave the kitchen a mess. They've had to work on this, but they're really getting better at it. And I ask myself, why do so many Virgo women come to me? One, I think they respect my skills. But moreover, I really think it's wanting to yield to the goddess. They want to feel that they're in sync with the goddess energy. And every single one comes to me for one reason. They want to know if they're on track with their mission. All of them. Am I on track with my mission? And that really sounds a lot like the big should. Close, but different. So the real task at hand, the purpose of tonight, is helping the Virgos realize they're allowed to do something other than what they should. Because there are no shoulds. Yeah. Let me turn your mic on here. Yeah.
So do Virgo men have that same penchant for wanting to know what their mission is? Do they have to reach a certain age or stage in their life?
Yes, without a doubt. But the problem with the Virgo men is the Virgo men are much more tied up with the role of being the provider. And men don't whine. And men don't cry. So they're much more buried. They're much more buried in their should than the women are. Virgo women are just some of the most unbelievable people I've seen in the past couple of years. They're kicking ass and not taking names. I mean, I told you years ago, the conveyor belt was going to turn out all these massage people. What happened? All these tons of massage people, all Virgos. Then what did I say was going to happen? Energy workers. Energy workers. Talk to Nancy. Nancy's this wonderful energy worker. Energy workers, energy workers, energy workers. Okay, that's all getting more and more refined. Now what's it turning into? It's turning into intention. That's what Nancy does so beautifully. Nancy fixes something going on with me, and I'm sitting there looking at the wall, and she's fixing it. And she's across the city of Pittsburgh from me because she's dealing with intention at the real quantum level. So the males and females are very different. The males are much more hung up on the should. I was watching the other night, I was watching reruns of The Sopranos. Tony, the main soprano, is a Virgo. He's really that character. He says, well, we might do this and we might do this, but damn it, I always do what I should do. You tell me that's a strength? That's how he saw it, which included knocking people off. But in his mind, the world is right and wrong. That's Virgo, and he does what's right. And that's pure. But in my world, it's about getting the shoulds out of the way, getting the deserve out of the way. Who has the right to? Who deserves this? All of that is meaningless. It's all man-made. All of it. It's not real. And that's why we're getting into this age now of the end of mea culpa. Because what did we have for these several thousand years of mea culpa? Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I got to go to confession. Oh, I've got to give my tithing. Oh, I'm not this. Oh, I'm not that. And Karen and I both do a lot of work with past life charts. Karen, just the other day, yesterday I did a long session with Nancy in the 12th harmonic. The past life charts, I don't know what you see, Karen, but what I see in 90% of them, I wasn't good enough. I didn't go to church enough. I was too much of a blabbermouth. I wasn't peaceful. I didn't have enough love in my heart. Blah, 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 blah. All the books you read. I wasn't pure enough. You got to go on the mountaintop and work to purify yourself. Thousands of lifetimes. The message now is you don't have to do any of it. Why? Because it's your born nature to be beautiful. That's what Virgo doesn't understand, and Pisces does. It's your nature. You've seen babies. It's your nature to smile. It's your nature to love. It's your nature to include. But it just so happens, halfway through the zodiac, the job of the Virgo is to fix things and do it right. So you've got to, you can't turn off the Virgo. You got to leave it on. But like I said, you got to do the difference is this. Got to do what's right versus got to do what's right. That's the whole story. It's the whole story. The intensity. The intensity of, oh, I screwed up. You ever see a Virgo make a mistake? Geez. And you know they're really trying and they're doing a great work. But that's what's happening to the collective now. The collective is learning, and this is why churches are afraid. They're losing their money. They're losing their programming. They're changing their stories. They're apologizing for old sins. All these things is because we're evolving. Not because of this garbage that we're becoming more politically correct. We're evolving. People don't want horse races anymore. They don't want the dogs to run anymore. They don't want the bears locked up anymore. We're evolving. We're going nuts with too much political correctness. Well, that's true when you want a whole soccer game to end 0-0. That's ridiculous. But that's what's happening. God's grace is really descending on us now as Neptune and Chiron continue through Pisces, and the Virgos are left with this stuff. What is this stuff? Well, they're coming to me saying, Rick, I've been working my ass off, and what for? They were not allowed to say what for. They were not allowed to say that till Neptune hit Pisces. Because up until then, because it's what's right, damn it, and that's the way you do it. Get the job done, quit whining. Right? Does that make sense? Now they're because of their femininity and their desire for goddess, one of the things I'm hearing now, and this is mind-blowing, we have no idea how much we're connected to the collective. It's unbelievable. And we have no idea how much that past life is still alive in us. And we're walking around with these egos thinking, I'm going to the store today, I'm making the decision, I'm going to build a house, I'm going to get married. We think we're in control. Look today with the collective. How many hundreds of women have come to me and told me I've been raped. I've been raped. I've been raped. Now the collective has changed. It's very sad, tragic, but we are rising. And one of the reasons Virgos, many reasons that the Virgo women are making such great teachers now. They're pure, they're talented, heaven knows they're skilled, They've got great intention. As you know, people can tell your intention 7 miles away. So I'm always telling Virgo, quit worrying about it. Just be yourself. They worry always about, how do I do it? How do I do it? And I say, just relax and be yourself. People can feel your beauty. They can feel your trust. They can feel that you're in the palm of their hand and you're going to treat them right. People trust you. As you know, you're with other teachers and you're always squirming like, where's it coming from? You don't do that with Virgos. You know they're being straightforward and honest. So they got a lot on the ball. So the Virgos are making tremendous leaps. But the thing I want to keep returning to is you're still a Virgo. In other words, when Nancy goes to work, she's got to make sure. I can always tell when a Virgo calls me. I was born at 5:17. No, it was 5:18. I don't care about the 1 minute. 5:17. And I love when Virgos call because I know they got it exactly right. A lot of them I know say, what's the problem? Life's going as it should. We got all the things we should. What's the problem? And somebody else in the family might not have that kind of Virgo. They might be twisting towards a Sagittarian explorative life or a Piscean life in the ashram. They don't understand that.
And when you get into a discussion, and I was laughing when you got to this, the part about the feelings, because it's like, because when you're talking about feelings, they immediately, because they can't access it, they go to, well, but I'm a good provider and I have got all this stuff and I've got this, and we do this and I do this and I work my butt off and I do, and so it becomes the litany of the accomplishments because they feel vulnerable because they can't access their feelings.
Well, they really don't understand that when you go beyond what you should do, they don't understand how they're 0 for 400 when it comes to doing what they want to do. You tell some Virgos that you can do what you want to do, and they think you just stuck a sword in Jesus Christ. I mean, they can't even believe that. What do you mean do what you do what you want to do? What does that mean?
Yeah.
The Virgo is so damn busy. Checklist, got that right. And then when they see you wanting to do what you want to do, they almost see you like a beach bomber. Well, I started to do a newsletter a couple years ago to entertain why people love to come America. Come America, oh, we're all free here. Then I started investigating. We're not free at all. Most of us are walking zombies, doing what we should. And all this, we're not really free. The closest we came was in the 60s. People started to. But you're exactly right. So I came to the conclusion, people are not being themselves. They're not being themselves. And what's your option? To be somebody else? Or your other option is to not be. That's why it's tough for Virgos. And they have to work through it. It's a very tough proposition. I don't know. I'm not seeing a lot of progress with the Virgo men. I think it's very tough. And I am seeing shockingly tons of progress with the Virgo women. And that means people with Moon in Virgo, people with Virgo rising. But you can see why it's so tough. Can you understand Dr. Phil as a Virgo? Does that make any sense? Can you see the Virgo-ness come through Dr. Phil? Dr. Phil's full of shoulds. He's got a rigid concept of how you should be. He wants to work on, but he's got a really rigid box. What you should be doing. And he's not judging, but behind the scenes, he's judging like crazy. Yeah, you know, all that matters is that's what's going on in his world. It's really what's going on in his world. You got to remember, they're not really trying to affect our world. Capricorn problems are very similar to Virgos. Very. Where Virgo is, I got to fix. Saturn is, I got to make sure. But Capricorns are not nearly as pure pure-hearted or chaste as the Virgo soul. But that's why you have the Virgin symbol.